Does the noise bother you? Are you comfy? Are you too comfy now? Do you want to go for a walk? Is that something you want to do? Want to go for a walk? Yeah. Skål! Chieftain Ralph here. Wanted to talk a bit today. A buddy of mine told me about a video that Skallagrim put out. I've been watching Skallagrim for a long time, enjoy a lot of his stuff. He did a video recently, is HEMA elitist? For those that don't know, HEMA is Historical European Martial Arts. It's a group that attempts to recreate historical European martial arts based on manuals and period medieval training schools. I don't have a lot of experience with HEMA. I've never found a HEMA group. I've never tried it out myself. It's something I've always kind of been interested in. They do a later period, obviously. They do Viking combat. I've seen some of that creep into some of the HEMA. They're testing it out. Obviously, the Vikings don't have manuals. They didn't write a lot of anything down, let alone how to fight. So, HEMA doesn't really fit what I do and what I like to do. We do combat based on, well, nothing really. We swing swords and kind of try to figure it out on our own based on how we know swords are used. So in that regard, I don't actually have a response to Skallagrim. I've always liked his opinion. I watched his video. He gave me a lot to think about. Some interesting stuff in there, and they're his opinions. And everyone's entitled to their opinion, and not everyone needs to get angry and upset about other people's opinions. It's just formulate their own and have an interesting discussion about things and defend their own opinion in a nice, calm manner. That's right. I did a clickbait. I'm figuring this internet stuff out. Hash Brown learning YouTube. There was an interesting point that Skallagrim made that I wanted to expand on a bit that I do have experience with. He said in his video that it all depends on your local group and club, and that goes for anything. Any local group, any local club, everyone's going to have a different experience because every club, group, whatever is different, and they're all run by different people. They interpret things differently. It works that way with every single thing. For me, I have experience with that. We started out as an SCA household, the Society of Creative Anachronism. Those are kind of where our roots are. We have different experience from our local group versus playing with other groups and other Skadians, and everything's different. I'm not saying our local group's better or worse, but I mean it's worse. But I'm not here to crap on the SCA nor our local group. Just the worst. Everything's different. You get a different experience, different things. I remember one time I went to an archery practice. I wanted to try archery. I hadn't done it since high school. They made us do it in gym. I had fun there because it's gym class. Here's a bow, here's an arrow, the pointy end goes down range, don't kill each other, have fun for half an hour, however long gym class used to be. And it was fun. You dick around, you have a good time, The SCA, our local practice, they weren't messing around. They weren't doing it for shiggles. Everything had to be a royal round. Everything had to be scored. You just kept doing it until you got a good score, and then that's the score you kept. That was the other. It wasn't, okay, this is the round, you keep it at the end. You just keep shooting, and when you get the high score, you say, hey, I'm going to keep that score. We bought a couple bows. Because we're doing an event, a house event only. All events are still canceled this year, so we're doing our own in a couple months. We're all vaccinated, we're all happy, healthy, safe. I wanted us to do archery. I know I had an experience that was kind of negative with it. At some other events we go to, some other people of the house are into archery, so I said, well, they can show us how to do it. I wanted to have some loader stuff, bought some bows, took them both out shooting in the yard. First time out in a long time, missed the target a bit. I managed to get the arrows out, but yeah. So I'm like, well, let's not do that in the yard. So I also got a lower poundage bow, a 30-pound bow, and this was the interesting one. So this is my 35-pound bow. I was very curious about this thing. It's an Eastern style, what do they call, horse bow, Mongolian bow, Mongolian horse bow, Turkish bow. I've seen a lot of names for them. Do not dry fire your bows. It's the only advice I have for you. Don't dry fire your bows. Don't shoot them at your sister. This intrigued me. I've seen videos on how to make them, and I've seen them at various price points. This one looked nice. I probably could have made it. I didn't want to, I'll be honest. I don't feel like it. Now that I have one, I kind of want to try to make one, so I still might. I won't be able to do the shape. I want to try to do a long bow. This is made out of PVC. These aren't simple to make, especially in this design, and I'm glad I bought it. It's thicker in the middle, thinner on the ends. It's actually tubing. They take PVC tubing, they take a heat gun to it, melt it down, compress it together on the ends, so you actually get a two-piece almost construction, but compressed instead of two pieces glued together. It's not simple to make, but it's easier than trying to make a real bow. I had a blast shooting this thing in the yard. So lower poundage, little, less likely to embed into the side of the garage. Didn't tear up the target as much, which is a good point that I didn't think of until I started shooting both bows. I bought a couple targets for us to use at our event. I still wanted to practice a little archery and make sure I can shoot, I don't want to say straight-ish, so we could have fun doing it. And I didn't tear up the target, which we have to use that, so that's a good thing. Dielast Archery, if I'm pronouncing that right. I'll put a link in the description if I remember. If not, look it up on Etsy. Dielast, Dielast Archery. You'll probably see them on there if you look up PVC bows. I had a blast with this thing. It was a lot of fun. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Archery and period. That's an interesting point, and a lot of people go back and forth on it. I think more often than not, later period sentiments kind of come in. We always say Viking warriors go to Valhalla. You die gloriously in battle, you go Valhalla. Whether or not that's true, that's up for debate. And they say, well, there's no glory in archery. There's no glory in this, and archers suck. And that is a later period mentality. Later period, knights, noblemen, even a man-at-arms would have been ransomed if captured, if he was actually captured and they just kill him on the battlefield. I remember everyone saying archers were just tortured and killed and no one cared, and I can understand that sentiment. Again, doing SCA combat, it's 90 degrees, you got all your gear on, you charge across the field, and an archer shoots you in the head before you even get to engage the line. You're pissed. I get that. Edge of that period, You got your armor on, you run across the field for God and country, you're going to go fight, and then an archer shoots you in the fucking leg, and you can't move anymore, and you're down, and the medics bring you back to the tent, and you didn't do much. Like, no, I got shot in the damn leg. And you're not happy. So yeah, if you come across an archer, you're going to kill him. You're going to kill him dead. You're happy about it. So I kind of see that, but we don't know. Again, we're projecting backwards. That's a lot of stuff that we think we know about the Viking Age, or we're projecting backwards, a little modern sensibility. Again, my comments on Valhalla, I know we put a lot of the Norse religion in a modern Judeo-Christian context. Also have the sagas, which are always suspect. Anyway, we don't, they were written in a Judeo-Christian context by people who had access to Greek, Latin, and Roman writings on their gods, and it's something we still do today. Well, if the Romans figured this out, surely the Vikings could have. It's a whole other area. They didn't have the same contact we'd like to think they had, and the Vikings weren't reading Latin, so yeah. Archery and period, we know they would have used them for hunting. We of course have the boar spear when you're hunting boar, but a deer's not going to charge you. A deer, you have to shoot from afar. You want a deer, or potentially, I don't know if they could have figured it out. I've met a lot of deer, even in the wild. An apple and a rock. If you're really in dire needs, you can get a deer with an apple and a rock. Even wild deer seem to come to apples when you hold them out, and then you can bash it in the head with a rock if you're really desperate. I'm guessing they used a bow. In various parts of Scandinavia, they had various farming, and they ate different things. Depending on what they were farming and growing, they could supplement their diet with hunting, game meat, gastroarchaeologists call it, various game diets. I love that, gastroarchaeology. I'd love to get into that someday. So they're definitely using them for hunting. I would assume they would have used them in war. I don't think they would have had qualms. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, war is about winning. You want to win war. You would think they all would have had a bow and tried to pepper the front line or take out reinforcements. I think they probably would have had a few of them, you know. And then the grand scheme of things, you know, you want as many of your guys able to engage the enemy's line as you can, so you don't want too many of them having bows. But if you know, Viking armies weren't all the great heathen army, you have, you know, your raiding party of the 70 guys, 80 guys you can fit on the boat, maybe 60 guys, you're doing a small raid. If out of 60 guys, 10 of them have bows, you're going to engage a defensive force of maybe 50, 60, maybe up to 100. That's, you know, 100 down if your archers get off 3 volleys, and if they hit everything, you know, 100 down to 70 to face your 60, that's an advantage right there. You didn't need a whole line of archers, you didn't need too much. So it's plausible. I don't know about period. I know from what I've read, which again I haven't dived into this yet, I'm enjoying archery so much I'm probably going to dive into this because I'm having a lot of fun with this. As far as I know, at this time, a Norse bow, a Scandinavian bow, was made out of one piece, which goes against a lot of what we know about archers. I know in archery, a lot of what we've always been told, and your casual observer, what people talk about is 2 or 3 pieces put together. You have the core would be a stronger piece of wood. You'd have the softer on the outside, and it would flex, and they'd use horse glue or hide glue. And as far as I know, that starts in, I want to say, 14th century England, France, who knows, everything comes from there. Again, when I went to the SCA practice, everyone had modern recurve bows that had shelves on them and stuff, so no one even did period archery in the SCA. I'm probably going to look into it. I'm having a lot of fun. I recommend you to. If you're interested and you want to do some backyard archery at a lower poundage bow, they call this their LARP bow. If you're interested in LARPing and you're looking for a LARP bow, I'd recommend this Die Last Archery. I'd recommend this bow. I've been having a lot of fun with it. If you have limited space, I said don't shoot it in the house. I had to stop myself a few times from doing it. Oh, it probably won't go through the couch. It probably will. Don't shoot it in the house. So, that's it, not too fun. We're going to do some more cooking coming up. Like, comment, subscribe. That's right, I said we're going to go outside and do more cooking. Last winter we got itchy and started watching a lot of cooking, and we wanted to do more fire cooking, so we might as well film it and show you good folks. Hopefully you enjoy the next round. Hopefully you have fun. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you hated. Subscribe so you can tell me every time I upload something how much you hate me and I'm ugly and you don't want to see me, but you know, put it in the comments. Till then, keep it out.